I've learned an interesting lesson over the past couple months that I wanted to film a video and share a little bit about and give some insight to. So what I've learned over the past couple months is that you can really only be successful when you're focusing on one thing. As most of you know, I run my main business, which is Club Doctor. That's usually takes most of my time, most of my effort, and it's how I make most of my money. For the first half of this year, that was entirely my focus. 100% of my time went towards that. I eat, breathe, lived Club Doctor every single day. And as a result, we saw some crazy successes. January, I was literally basically losing money. I'm not going to get into it, but a series of events that occurred last year caused a lot of issues within the business. I felt the result of that in January and February of this year, and I was barely making any money. I just moved to a brand new city, a much more expensive city at that, and I was struggling. That whole time, Club Doctor was my only focus. It's what I put all my time into. Every day I was working at it, trying to fix it, trying to make it better, trying to make this piece of content, get this photo, market this way. And sure enough, I turned things around in a month, and April was crazy. May was even crazier. June was insane. I made over $100,000 in June. In 1 month, $100,000, which just would have never thought that would happen. In late June, July, some opportunities presented themselves, some ideas sprung up, and all of a sudden, Club Doctor wasn't the only thing on my plate. I got myself involved in a couple different projects because I was excited about them. I also think part of it was that, I was bored doing the same thing, to be quite frank. Working on the same business every day can be monotonous. It is monotonous at times, and it is boring, especially when the things you're working on aren't like new products or like fun stuff like that. When it's more back-end stuff that you really won't see results from until like 6 or 8 months later, or contacting retail buyers trying to get your product in retail. Anyways, so I started to get involved in other stuff. I started to pull time away from Club Doctor. Those months I was doing that were just incredibly stressful and unhappy, and I felt very lost. I lost sight of both my short-term and long-term goals. Basically, my vision of the future was much more blurred, whereas before it had been so obvious and clear, and I knew exactly what I wanted to do. So now it's October. I had to look in the mirror and really tell myself, are all these side projects you're working on, are all these other businesses that you're trying to start and get involved in, is it worth it? Is it making you happy? And perhaps most importantly, is it taking away from your bread and butter, which is, in my case, Club Doctor? And I realized that it was. I was going from spending 7 days a week, several hours a day on Club Doctor, to some days I wouldn't touch it at all. And as a result, it started to suffer in different ways. Things weren't being taken care of. I was slacking here and there. Everything else was taking away focus from what I should have been focusing on. And so as of recently, I like I said, I had to look in the mirror and I had to be like, it's time to cut all this off and really hone back in on what I should be focusing on. What's been working the past 2 years. And really see this thing through, rather than try all these projects, get involved with people that you don't really know. And that's what I've done. To be honest, it's been such a massive weight off my shoulders because now I know I'm working on the right thing. I'm working on what's already worked, and I know the next steps. I know what needs to be done, and it's so clear and so obvious, and that's the only thing I have to worry about. So I guess what I'm trying to say with all this is that if you really want to succeed at something, you can honestly only focus on one thing at a time. If you're trying 3 different things at once, you're only going to give a third of an effort here, a third of an effort here, and a third of an effort here. And you're much more likely to be successful if you go 100% of effort into the one thing that works, into the one thing you believe in most. I'm just excited about that. I'm excited that I'm back on that track. I'm back fully dedicated to what's mine, to what I built, to what I created, and I'm not worried about anyone else's projects, businesses, anything else. So with that, it's going to get monotonous, it's going to get boring, and you're going to be tempted to stray away and jump at these seemingly beautiful opportunities that present themselves throughout life. But I really think it's important to, when considering new opportunities, consider what it's going to take away. Consider how much time it's going to take away from what you're already working on and the goals you're already trying to achieve. And is it worth it in that way? I'm just really excited to be back on track, back working on what I know. And yeah, I think the future's really bright, and I just need to remind myself to stay focused on what's mine and keep grinding on that.